Welcome to the Twitter Spaces post-game reaction show. This is the Queen City Soccer Show podcast feed, and I'm Level Up Luke. I record these on Twitter/X Spaces after every home game, away game, U.S. Open Cup game, whatever it may be. So obviously last night we had a draw against Cincinnati, 1-1, and this is the conversation that followed. We had a great turnout. We had a lot of fellow fans join us and give some takes, some hot takes. Standard disclaimer with these: it is late at night when we record. It is after an emotionally charged game, so think about this like you're hanging out with your friends at the bar. None of this information is meant to make you smarter or better. It's just to vent and hang out with some friends. So you can find us at QCS Pod on Twitter, at QCS Pod _ on Instagram, and at QCS Pod on YouTube. See you at the next Spaces.
All right. Hey, we have a listener that has joined the show, and I started this way too early by accident. If you want to hop on, let's talk about the game. Kurt, I think you are.
No worries, you there? Sorry, don't join these too often here.
What did you think about the game tonight?
That was a good performance overall. Cincinnati's obviously top of the table, so you can't expect Charlotte to come in and just roll over them. I thought we looked good defensively for the most part. I think we had some great moments going forward, especially in the first half. I think everything's encouraging here. I think Dino's got the boys playing well, but it's discouraging, obviously, not to get all 3 points tonight. But I think playing well. I think going forward, if we get a bot in the starting 11, if we get Capetti going forward, maybe encouraging things for the squad.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And we got a friend of the program, Len Cornacchia, joining us as well. Len, you're more than welcome to join as a speaker. Until then, I just want to echo what you said. Like, my biggest question mark coming into today was like, what is the team going to look like, especially with this new lineup, with the new options we have as far as depth goes. And I was pretty pleased, honestly. Like, I don't think anybody can say that the game was given to one side or the other by the refs. I think it was pretty down the middle. I feel like Cincinnati, top of the table, and we gave them a hell of a game. I'm happy to take 1 point away and keep our streak going up to 12 at home unbeaten. That's pretty cool. Len, are you on board?
I am.
All right, man. Give me your opinion. What you think about the game?
So, yeah, I heard somebody say disappointing not to get the 3 points. That is true, but I think tonight was about what we could see happening the rest of the season and the potential.
I know that's right.
Yeah, I think tonight was about if we continue to play in the back the way we did, we've been consistent. 6 games, we have been consistent. We pretty much held them off for 90 plus minutes. And I just watched the goal again that they scored in the 92nd minute, and that was a real bang bang play. And DeAndre Yedlin made a beautiful little touch pass after the ball across that sprung whoever the heck it was that scored the goal. Bopenza, that was it, Bopenza. It was a really great little flick, and unfortunately, Privet kind of just was backing up and looking at that, and nobody was tracking Bopenza, and he kind of got into a space where he was left alone. Unfortunate, but hey, they are the best team. But to me, has anybody ever heard a louder introduction for a player for the first time than we did for Leo Abada tonight? It was deafening in there. And then if you could see the potential of him playing with Capetti even, and I think it was the 77th minute, 76th minute, something like that, where Capetti gets the ball, lays it off to Abada, and he sent that howler over the net. So you just watching him with his speed and his ability to take on players, and also his ability to come back and be a defensive tool as well, if you will, to play on both sides of the ball. I think looking at the rest of the season, teams are going to be afraid to play us.
I have to agree. I mean, dude, there was one play in particular that I saw Vargas get all the way back in the box and just really make a defensive play and to stop a goal opportunity. And I was just like, man, our team is selling out for the defense, and that's how we win some goddamn games. I want to bring on Ash Hamrick.
I'm disappointed, but not too disappointed. I'm disappointed that we again returned a little bit to our old ways of giving up 3 points from a winning position, but I'm not like too disappointed because I think we played probably one of our best games in our entire existence, and I am very excited to see the rest of the season. I do think like the biggest thing we really need to work on is our finishing. Vargas should have had a hat trick this game. Patrick Agyemang should have
Agreed.
had one. Yeah, Patrick Agyemang should have one goal. Abada should have had one goal. Enzo should have had a goal. So we could have easily killed Cincinnati 6-1. But if we like work on our finishing just a little bit and get more shots on target, I think we can. I think teams will be very afraid to play us, especially at home.
Well, I think they should be afraid to play us already because the potential is there, like you said. All we need to do is connect, and these are players who have never practiced together. So let's just keep that in mind. Like the more they get to know each other, the more we build that chemistry that other teams have had since preseason. The better we will look on the field. I think.
I also want to make a comment on Diani. I think whoever discovered him or scouted him or told Zoran to sign him needs a giant pay raise because I
Yeah.
am loving the double pivot with Westwood as the two CDMs. I think Diani is a very, very creative midfielder, and I think he has the potential to be one of the, if not the player of our season in the future.
Yeah, and I was in one of the pubs post game. I was sharing with a very ardent fan of the show that I think this is public knowledge. This should not be like breaking news, but I believe it was Thomas from the scouting team who said they've actually been tracking him for well over a year now. Last season, when he was getting a lot of appearance in League Deux, which is a silly ass name for a league, he was actually performing at a very high level with the type of attributes that we were looking for. And then this season, going into this season, he lost playing time because that team changed their play style and got a new coach. And it was nothing to do with the player individually. It was like, you know, we've changed coaches. Like, there are some players that don't fit into the coach's vision. And Diani was one of those for the Ligue 2 team. So he got kind of frozen out. But our scouts kept an eye on him because he still fit all the attributes, and nothing changed with him. So I was very skeptical of that, and I told them so, you know, weeks ago. But he's proven me wrong, and I am so glad to be proven wrong that he is a legit player. And I'm seeing the performance on the field.
It does bring up a question though between the communication of the front office and Dean Smith. Do we have like a situation where the club is just signing players and they tell Dean, yeah, these are the players you're giving, go coach them, go do the best they can? Or is Dean actually saying
kind of
like giving them approval or something like that? Does Dean have a say in the players that we sign? I'm sort of interested in that.
Yeah, kind of. I think you're conflating the positions between head coach and sporting director. This is mostly Zoran's role. So Zoran Cornetta is in charge of signing new players in the direction of the team tactically, and he can work with Dino on that. But like Diani, for instance, he predates Dino by a year and a half. Like that scouting had nothing to do with Dino whatsoever. Dino had nothing to do with that signing decision that I know of. So, I mean, feel free, if anybody's on here that wants to jump in and correct me, like, feel free to. But my understanding is that, you know, the sporting director is in charge of the tactical decisions for the team, The head coach is in charge of managing the team that exists, because Dean seems to be doing a lot more with the pieces that are actually on the plate than what Latanzio did. Len, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think Dean Smith, as we heard in the players say, and then and some of the other podcasts and that you've hosted, Luke, that he seems to have simplified it for the team and made it a little bit easier. I've heard Melanda and Privet both say that in interviews as we start early in the season. And yeah, I agree. I think Gianni was on their radar for a while, as well as I found out. I guess Abada was, in a way. They've been kind of tracking him, and Zorn and tracking him
Yeah,
for a couple of years as well. You know,
correct. Yeah, that's I can shed some light on that a little bit. It wasn't it was not the Dino side of things. It was definitely the Zoran sporting director side. They did pursue him at one point a year or 2 years ago, but they were told there was no chance. So that was one thing they put on the back burner. So when they say that they were scouting him, they did at one point, but that was like a cold lead. After October 7th, obviously, world politics changed and the situation changed. And, you know, you can never foresee that kind of thing happening. But, sorry, as I avoid a deer jumping out in front of me in the road, yeah, no, that's one thing that, as a Celtic fan, I can say from the other side of things, like, you hate to see it, but world politics and situations override the petty concerns of sports.
I had a question for you. Based on what you saw tonight, if there were one position where we could upgrade, where do you think that is?
You know, I don't want to give credence to the Apple Plus studio members who may have appeared on certain Charlotte FC podcasts, but you know, is Brecht a top 10, number 10 in MLS? I don't think so, man. Not right now. So
I agree with you.
if he's not going to be,
yeah. I was as the game wore on, and after Abada came in, I thought, man, if whether Capetti or Ajimang up front with Vargas and Abada, if we had a number 10 like Acosta or anywhere near him, I mean, think of that. That would be a lethal combination.
dude, if we had an Acosta level player, we would be a Shield contender immediately.
I kind of agree that maybe the 10 could also use an improvement. I am going to give you a little hot take. I think we could improve left wing as well. I love Vargas. I think he has a very high ceiling for this league, but I just don't think he's there yet. I think he misses a little too many opportunities that he really should be finishing off. I think he needs to improve his crossing a little bit. With that being said, I do think bringing in a more probably older or more experienced left winger, so that just to boost our attacking lineup and to have a player that Vargas can learn off of would be incredibly beneficial for us.
Oh man, it's almost like we should have had a player like that last year. Oh man,
Yeah.
let's say a fucking 200 cap veteran like Justin Miram, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know why we got rid of Justin Miram. I thought he served a great role for us last year, and we definitely should have kept him.
I know why we got rid of Justin Miram. It was Christian Latanzio specifically.
We got rid of Justin Miram because of Christian Latanzio.
Yes, and also Derek Jones. He was directly responsible for both decisions, as far as I know. And if Zorn wants to come on here and correct me, he's more than welcome to. We have an open line. I will let anybody come up and speak. But unless they want to, I mean, my understanding is it was directly Christian Latanzio that said Derek Jones was not his type of player, and Justin Miram was too old. Justin Miram told me directly he had 2 more years left to play. So I believe the player in this situation.
Where did Miram end up? Is he still a free agent, or is he signed for somebody else?
Still a free agent from last I heard. And we should sign him back because he still has 2 years left in him.
Yes.
In my opinion.
Yes, absolutely.
The dude is so technical. Like, can he go a full 90 every match? I mean, no, but he's really fucking good. So I don't know. That's my opinion.
I mean, even to go past that, we got rid of Yordi Reyna. Yordi Reyna had several goal interactions, and we just got rid of him, thinking that Vargas was ready to step in. And Vargas, I mean, as bright as he is at times, he just doesn't have enough goal interactions, in my opinion, that we'd want from someone who's in a attacking position for us.
We have some amazing speakers who have just joined the chat. I've invited several of them up to speak. If I can vamp long enough for one of you to be able to hear what I'm saying, I would like to invite you to jump on up. Let's start off with Joe Garcia.
So I'm still on my way home after the match, dropping my daughter off. I agree with what everybody said so far. I think where we can improve would be at the 10 and a left wing. Watching Vargas tonight, he shows a lot of promise, but man, I got to agree with Ash. He misses way too much. But he's got it. He's got the talent, but I think he just needs to form it better. And I also agree with y'all. If Miram's still out there, why don't we try to bring him back? We could probably get him on the cheap, for now. Let's see what else. I recommend going back to like acquisitions and like Diani and even Abada. If folks have a chance, I do recommend that they check out the Charlotte Soccer Show interview with Zoran. I think there was a lot of insight that he gave into how things kind of work.
It was a really great episode.
Yeah, like between the winter and the summer windows, and how it's not something that necessarily happens right away. Because I know there's a lot of folks, and I was kind of one of them early last year that kind of got on Zoran, but after hearing him speak a couple of times, and especially. I was already on his side going into that interview, but he just gave a little more detail that I've heard in the past. And I think folks would change their mind about Zoran if they actually listened to the process and the way that he's been trying to get the team built out. I think people would be a little more lenient with him. So, you got to remember, people forget, it wasn't like he walked into an established club. He was walking into a club that was just getting off the ground. So, there's going to be a bunch of misses along with a few hits in the beginning. It seems like we're hitting our stride, though. So, definitely recommend folks check that out. I liked what I saw, what was going on. I could see that there's some chemistry already a little bit with Liel and Copetti. And I think once that starts clicking, man, I think we're going to be really dangerous. That looked nice. Hopefully they'll both be starting next week rather than subbing in. Let's see. I'm trying to think what else. Diani, I agree with you guys. Looked fantastic. Yere looked awesome again as usual. I think Privet had a monster night. He looked fantastic.
Hell yeah! And hey, Joe, let me give a shout out, man. Cole from the Queen City Soccer Show absolutely called out and said, I want to speak to Andrew Privet before the game ever started, before he was in the starting lineup. He said, that's my guy for today. So shout out to Cole, man, because he saw it coming.
Yeah, no, I mean, monster. I mean, he had a lot of great clearances. Really phenomenal match from him tonight. And I just want to say, if you would have asked me 3 weeks ago how I felt, if I thought we would get 4 points out of 6 between the reigning Cup champs and the Supporters Shield holders, I'd say, well, of course I want 6 points, but I don't think that's going to happen. I'll take the 4, man. I'm really happy. And I thought that the guys played great tonight up until the goal. I mean, I think they had Cincinnati really frustrated and played a really solid game overall.
Absolutely. And I'm just inviting a few more people up to speak. If the Queen City Soccer Show, Cole is here, feel free to jump in.
Yeah, hey guys. I mean, I'll echo what most of you have said. Dean was actually he had a lot of praise for Brett's press conference after the game, which, I didn't see. It's one of those where we've talked about time and time again where we need a better 10. We need a better 10. this wasn't Breck's worst game, but it wasn't. It's still lacking vision and creativity up front. Liel, when he came in, I thought you seen the pace right off the bat, what he can bring to the table, pace wise, and he had some I think it was Joe that was saying that or it might have been Lynn about the link up play between him and Enzo. I agree. I think that's going to be you got to remember, Liel literally had one training session with these guys before tonight. So again, I think that this attack is going to be something to be feared, especially if we can get Kerwin to start putting chances away like he was at the end of last season. And then the back line once again was just absolutely phenomenal. I think Nathan Byrne was tremendous. I think Andrew Privet, again, echoing what you were saying, Joe, I think Andrew Privet was great. Melanda was great. The back line has been just leaps and bounds better than it was last year. And and I don't care who you put back there with Ashley, man. If it's Deani, Urso, Brant, obviously we've seen Brant come in, there in stoppage time, but all three, those defensive holding midfielders like Urso, man, they can really, really help you out. It's unfortunate to concede. That's what Dean was saying in the press conference afterwards, was that it was he thought the team was too down on themselves in the locker room after the game because, again, you got 4 points out of the top two teams in the East, and realistically tonight, you probably should have had another 3. So I understand why you're down on yourselves, but at the same time, Charlotte pretty much controlled this match from start until the last 6-7 minutes of the game. So there's really nothing to hang your head about. We, again, 4 points out of this. If you'd asked me before the game, I'd have took it in a skinny minute.
This is Joe. I just want to jump in for a second. There was that play late in the match where I couldn't see because people jumped up before I had a chance to get up out of my seat, where Enzo made a run, and I couldn't tell if he had gotten taken down in the box. Did anybody get a chance to watch that replay and to see if that should have been a penalty or not?
I took a quick look at it when I got home, and it looked to me like he just tried to move the ball to his right, if I remember it correctly, and he kind of got tied up and where he lost it there. So it didn't look like a penalty to me, to be honest with you. It was just one of those, a half a step off, or else he would have had a shot off, and it was unfortunate. But yeah, I don't think it was a penalty.
Okay, and it was nice that we got somebody to make the PK tonight. That was good.
Yeah.
Hey,
well, I mean, what do we think about the PK taker? Can I ask the crowd?
Well, I mean, I can say that it was asked again in the press conference, and again, it comes back down to Deani was looking good in practice this week, and then asking Deani after the match, how he felt and everything. He just pretty much said, he felt confident and just very excited to put it away. He put it on target. He put it on target regardless if it had been saved. For God's sake, just put it on target, and he put it on target and slotted it home. So it's hard to complain. I thought Ashley Westwood was going to take it, but I mean, again, we just had to find somebody to hit a damn penalty.
Yeah, they have a saying. It's keep it simple, stupid. When it comes to penalties, man, my philosophy is keep it simple, stupid, and we got a goal, so that's all that matters. Let me toss it over, and I can speak to Cole, and I see that we got Danny Brams somewhere out there in the ether. Before the game, man, we ran into some Cincinnati fans, and they had great vibes, in my opinion. I thought they were a lot of fun to party with and hang out with. I was not expecting that coming into today. I thought that we were going to have a lot of Charlotte fans to hang out with, but man, they really invaded the hop fly spot, and I just, like I said, tremendous vibes. We walk away with a draw, so I can't wait for the return fixture. I would love to go up to Cincinnati this year and party up there. But what did you guys think about the pregame and the tailgate vibes?
Yeah, I mean, I was with you at Hot Fly, and I'd have to agree. I think that they were tremendous to talk to. We got to talk to, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he was the head of one of the supporters group for Cincinnati, Norden, and he was just a really, really good guy, really cool dude. Family lived down here, so yeah, I mean, Hop Fly was hopping. Props to the Charlotte Soccer Show, Danny Brams and John and those guys. They did a great job hosting that. Didn't get to go to the tailgate lot, so if anybody went to the tailgate lot and had a good time, let us know.
Speaking of the Charlotte Soccer Show, I think around the 68-minute mark, they got a little shout out from the Apple broadcast about their interview with Zoran. Danny, I don't know if you heard about that or saw that, but yeah, you got some national attention on Apple TV.
Hell
He
yeah,
saw it.
well
He
deserved.
saw it. If he's not answering, he saw it because I was with him. They saw it. They noticed it when it happened.
I love that, and I see that we have Bridget here. So, Bridget, what did you think about the game? What was your takeaways?
I thought it was a good game, and I hate the fact that we cannot keep them from scoring in the final. I mean, after the final minutes when it's in the extra time, we just have an issue. But the last 10 minutes were a little anxious, but they did a good job. I mean, I don't understand why we can't shoot on target. Kerwin was way off all night long, amazingly off. And then Enzo missed one where he could have clearly got it. I think that there was one Patrick was open and he didn't get it. I don't understand. We just need to start finishing. But we did a good job, so we can't be mad.
I totally agree. And Jonathan Wilson, I think you're a first timer on here. What'd you think about the game and like any big takeaways? Uh,
Yeah, brother, that was
there you go.
disappointing draw at that point, but I thought they played really good. I think Diagre seems to be a little bit of a soft spot on the team. That's what I saw, but continued to be impressed by your own, and man, that guy has quickly become my favorite player on the team.
Hell
Ours
yeah, I
too.
completely agree.
Yeah, the finishing is just not sharp enough. I mean, gosh, how many opportunities we have? I feel like we should have had at least two in the regular run of play. And not being able to score in the regular run of play is causing me some like serious heartburn. But dude, that run, the first touch that Abada had on the ball, that penetrating drive into the box was pretty sick and just really exciting. That was, but overall, bummed that we didn't get the three. But geez, taking away 1 point in that match. Yeah, before the match, I would have totally taken that.
All right, I love that. And we have a massive turnout today as far as speakers go. I'm going to get to everybody, but first off, Charlotte FC podcast. I saw that you jumped in. So, what's up? First of all, which one are you, and
Yeah,
what'd you think of the
this is
game?
Nick Finelli. So I'm the host of the Charlotte FC podcast. Yeah, I thought up until the stoppage time, I thought that was one of the most complete games that we have seen from not only this club but like in history. Like it was pretty solid. Um, I felt like we had more creative play in the final third, giving us those chances that we don't always get. Of course, the disappointments in the finishing, which seems to be still the case for this club, and hopefully the floodgates will open up and we'll do well. But I also thought that I talked to someone coming down from the press room and from FC Cincinnati, and they just felt like they were, they were really happy to get out with the tie because they just felt like they didn't play well. And I asked him, I said, well, was it more of us or more of you guys? He felt it was a little bit of both, but he said they definitely were frustrated by the way we were playing and containing and playing that good defensive shape that kept them from really having those normal opportunities that they're used to having. So they kind of sat back a little.
Yeah, and that
Yeah,
was
I
echoed.
totally agree.
That was echoed in Andrew Privett's response, and uh, about Acosta, keeping Acosta quiet, and Bapenza until obviously the last, he scored in the last dying embers of the game. But throughout the entire match, man, all I seen was their heads hanging low, arms going up in the air. They were extremely, extremely frustrated. And to keep Acosta off of the score sheet, he scored in two straight coming into this game. I believe he's assisted or scored in every one of their goals so far this season, with the exception of the goal tonight. So keeping him quiet is a huge, huge shout. He was the reigning MVP for a reason. So again, just big kudos to the back line.
Yeah, and they're
And I
also
would
having. Sorry, I was going to say they're
no,
also having trouble trying to replace Vasquez. So they were used to having someone that could just put it in, and that's what they're struggling with this year as far as FC Cincinnati. So I still think they're trying to find their form with a goal scorer.
And I would just like to give another shout out to Nathan Byrne. I think we're very fortunate to have two fullbacks that are just absolutely fantastic. I think, again, we probably said this a lot of times, but Latanzio's system last year really made Nathan Byrne seem like a subpar fullback. Now with Dean Smith, he's like a brand new signing at this point. He's been so solid pretty much every single game in defense and attack. He made so many good runs and had a lot of good crosses in. I think Nathan Byrne's evolution has just been like night and day this year.
Yeah, I was just going to echo that. Yeah, I agree 100%. I tweeted it out during the game. Nathan Byrne is in another stratosphere right now, and I do think a lot of it has to do. I think the talent obviously has always been there. Latanzio's system with the way that he had his fullbacks pinch in and stuff like that. It just didn't bode well for Byrne. But we've all seen this season. Him and Euronen have been just otherworldly. Specifically, coming from last season, Nathan Byrne, so far he's got to be the comeback player of the season. He is again, like you said, in the attack and finding those spaces, running into those spaces in the attack and tracking back, and then just finding his shape in defense. Man, you can't say enough good things about Nathan and his performance tonight and throughout the entire season.
I would argue.
Yeah, I completely agree. I wanted to jump in real quick because we've had Jorge Torres, our man on the pitch, our man on the field, waiting for so long. Jorge, please tell us what happened pitch side. What was your observations from the game tonight?
You know what, guys? I thought this was a very even game. Like we held our own this entire time, and it's funny because I asked to join in when you guys were doing the whole penalty talk because my point of view, it was honestly kind of funny because as soon as it happened, I think who was it? Somebody picked up the ball and immediately, like forcibly, like handed it to Deani, like this is yours. And then I turn around and then look back over, and then Westwood's on the spot. And I'm like, oh, okay, so he's taking it. I'm like, I'm cool with it. And then they switch. I'm like, oh, okay, so this was the plan all along. So seeing it from that point of view, it was like this was how it was the entire time. But and then vibes at the tailgate were immaculate as always. It was cool to see some FC Cincinnati fans kind of like marvel at us and stuff like that. So and there was some like even the team posted it like they were recording our march and stuff like that. So it was fun. Like, but overall the game,
Oh yeah.
but overall like this game, I can't be mad at it. Like even the goal that they hit, it was a whole save by Kalina, and then there was just he was there at the right place at the right time. So I'm just like it happened. So I'm like I can't be mad. This was one where I was okay to end off with a draw.
Man, like we have this image of Cincinnati as being the wooden spoon winners like 3 years in a row, but this is the defending supporters shield winner.
Exactly.
This is one of the best teams in MLS, and they came into our house and they respected us. And to me as a fan, like that is something that means a lot to me is our fan culture and what we're projecting out there to the rest of MLS. You guys know me. You follow me on social media. Like when the national MLS reporters are shitting on us and they're saying that we are not a top five fan base and that we are projected to finish 14 out of 14 in the East, man, I get heated. I will fight over that shit. Like I hate that because they've never been to one of our games. They don't know us. They don't know our fans. And we put in the fucking work every day, every week to make sure that Charlotte FC gets the goddamn respect. And today, Cincinnati gave us the respect, and they're number one in the league for now.
And those
We're out
fuckers,
to-
we're
and those
coming for that
fuckers in
top.
Nashville copied our food scarves.
I mean, hey, look, I want that goddamn hot chicken scarf because that is hot as hell, dude. I want that along with the Scottish Premier League, the Hotspur kit. I forget which team it is. I think it's St. Partick. That kit, dude, is amazing. It's like a kaiju version of their mascot. I want that with the Nashville chicken scarf. Like that would be my all-time soccer outfit. I love it. But at the same time, dude, we did the Wild Berry Pop Tart scarf first. We got it. Let's get off the silly shit. And I got Jay Forrest over here. Jay, what do you think of the game tonight?
I'm a little upset. I don't see how anybody else isn't a little bit upset. I think we're playing winning football. I think there's heads down because our defense is playing, winning football, and we can't finish anything. And we need to make some moves. And I'd like to see Capetti gone. I think we need 2 new DBs. And let's buy down Vargas. And I'm just going to straight up and call it out.
I don't think Capetti's going anywhere.
Ooh.
After that 77th minute link up play with Abada, I bet you Dean Smith eyes just went wide and went, okay, we got something going on here. I don't think Capetti's going to go anywhere.
Like
Capetti, to
literally,
me, his value is
saw.
not pumping goals into the net. His value is holding. He can hold up play better than anybody on the team right now. And Ajimang is still important. He's going to play an important role on this team. He may even start some games, but I think Petty is going to be really important. I think the link we still need is that number 10. But I really, after watching that, if you go back and look at that 77th minute, I think it was, or 76, where Capetti holds it up, lays it off to Abada, and he sends that ball just a couple of feet over the on a howler. That had to make Dean Smith go, holy crap! Okay, this is what we got.
I think a lot of people can pick out Abada on the wing, and it's just not good enough. It's just not good enough. If we want to win football games here and be a winning team, that's not good enough. I don't know what we're waiting on. We've got a full season with him. We're 6 games into another season, and I have seen nothing that even he barely is a squad player. Like if we have Ajiman starting, fine. We need a backup. So I'm not going to be surprised if our next U22 signing ends up being a center forward striker, and we can look to part ways with Capetti, open up 2 new spots, maybe do a DP left wing, maybe do a DP cam or a DP center forward. Like that, it's pathetic at this point.
Man, I gotta tell you, I love coming in with a fiery take because Cole can tell you, man, like our private conversations, man. I've never been high on Enzo. I think his style of play does not fit MLS. I think that his past performance in Argentina is no guarantee of current performance in this North American league. We're much more physical. We're much bigger. We eat more protein up here. I don't know what's going on, but like, dude, he just cannot get the shots or the looks. And is that supply or demand? Because he's demanding a lot and he's not getting given, very much. But man, Enzo has not shown me that he can handle the supply when he gets it. So I feel where you're coming from. But let me kick it over to Bridget from the Queen's Pitch.
I kind of agree about Enzo. I think we need to. I mean, I don't know. I think we need to see what he can do with Abada. He did have that pass to him that I thought, oh my gosh, if they could actually work this out, it could be amazing. But I agree. I mean, it's been a year now. He's either show up or or ship out, one or the other. I just feel like. But as far as the back line, I was gonna say I agree. Our back line is stellar this year compared to last year. I was telling someone, I noticed that when Byrne goes up, you still have Yeri stays back. So you still have your 3 backs. And then if Yeri goes up, Byrne stays back. It's so nice to see that we have 3 people on that back line at all times instead of everybody just going wherever the heck they wanted to be. I just think that's so refreshing this year. And whatever Dean's doing is working.
Yeah, and I'll just kind of jump in on the Enzo talk. It's one of those things, Lynn, where I kind of agree with you. And then, Jay, I kind of agree with you as well. Like, I do agree that Enzo, I think this team with the roster that it has right now, this team is better with Enzo on the pitch. Just simply because, like you said, his hold up play, and he can set up Abada when he's coming in, or Yuri Tavares, or if Kerwin starts putting things away. But at the same time, Lynn, I have to agree with Jay in the fact that he is the number 9. At the end of the day, it is his job. It is what he's making money to do, is to put the ball in the back of the net. He gave up his penalty shot or his penalty chance in the first game against NYCFC. He had a great look in Vancouver 1-on-1 with the keeper and scuffed it. He had another great 1-on-1 up in Canada where he scuffed it. And you're not paying a DP striker to do that. You're paying a DP striker to put the ball in the back of the net. Now, there is a caveat there that, yes, the service has got to be better. But the thing is when the service is good, you have to take those chances, and the chances haven't been taken. And, realistically, without penalties, without set pieces, we don't know, from open play, this team hadn't got a lot of looks. I mean, hadn't put the ball in the back of the net. And it's, obviously Enzo's been hurt. We did have 2 goals last week, and Patrick got one of them. So it's one of those things where, I can see both sides of it, because yes, Enzo does bring something to this team. He does bring being able to open up lanes and being able to have that great hold up play. But at the same time, he's got to put the ball in the back.
Derek Jones.
I
Derek
agree
Jones,
with you, but my only point was that he's a DP now, and he's not going anywhere this year. So we just got to get used to that.
How do
He
you
ain't
know
going
he's not?
anywhere.
How do you know he's not going anywhere?
Yeah, just to chime
You
in
don't
on
know
that. Yeah, we kind of do. During the
how do you know?
interview
Are you the GM?
Yeah, no, it's just when Danny, if you want to chime in here, you're the one hit interview, and Zoran seems to be a big admirer of Enzo Capetti, because during the Charlotte Soccer Show interview, he defended him a lot and said he really liked a lot of his qualities. So it doesn't seem that Zoran is going to be selling
He's got to sell the player
Enzo
too,
anytime
man.
soon.
He's got to sell the player too. Of course, he say that. I watched that same interview. Totally different take.
You know, I
really don't think that Enzo is better at hold up play than Ajurman. I mean, how is
Derek Jones is better at hold up play than Enzo? So
Yeah, I don't think Enzo's better than Patrick in hold up either.
what's the difference between
Joe,
Derek Jones and Enzo Capetti? And tell me one great goal that you saw from Enzo Capetti in a year and a quarter.
Go back and look at the Orlando game, or the St. Louis game where he scored the first goal
The
against
first
St.
game
Louis.
of the season, nothing since then. He had one header off a beautiful pass from Swiderski.
Well, here, let me jump in for a second. So here's the thing. I'm not a Capetti stan, but let's take things into perspective for a second. He came in here last year to a team that was basically Carroll's, right? Carroll always made sure that he took the PKs, made sure that he was the center focus of things, and he was competing with Carroll. And then he got hurt too, right? He didn't really have a full season. And I think when he came back, he didn't look as good, like other players who have come back from injury and might not have looked as good when they first come back. I'm willing to give him grace to see how he does this season. And this season, it's obvious that what Dean has done so far is, which I agree with, let's build this team out from the back line and move forward, right? So our defense is really solid. And that's what he's focused on. And that's what's really gotten us to 8 points in the first 6 games of this season, which if you would have asked anybody, they'd be really happy with, because how long did it take us to get at least 8 points in the previous 2 seasons, right? So I think we're in a good place when it comes to defense. I do agree that we need, now that Enzo is the guy, he's the number 9, that's it, there's no question. I think that if he's healthy, he's not even competing with Pat, to be honest with you. I think that if next week, obviously he came in off the bench tonight, but that's only because he's coming back from injury. Next week, I guarantee you, he's the first guy on the pitch. He's in the starting 11 next week, for sure. With him and Abada.
Yeah, and you gotta put some. You gotta put some. No, I'm just sorry to jump in, but you at this point, the way I look at it is I'm gonna put some faith in Dino, just simply for the fact that he's gotten this team to gel and mesh in 3 months, better than any coach that we've had thus far. And again, it goes back to, yes, we got more points now than we've ever had at this point in the last 2 seasons. And so if Dean Smith is putting Enzo up front, and starting him over Pat, I'm going to go with Dean. I just am. Dean has not shown me anything this so far in his tenure to question his decision making, other than maybe the penalty taking style. But hey, to each their own. It worked out
Hey,
tonight.
wait.
But
Or I'm sorry, Cole.
And this team actually
Hey,
looks
we have
confident.
a soccer
Oh, I didn't
sheet.
mean to cut you off, Luke.
First of all, can you guys hear me? Because like I've gotten kicked out of this like 3 times in a row, and I just
yeah, we
logged
got
in on
you.
my laptop to try to like get back into this conversation. But
No, yeah,
all
we
right,
got
dude,
you.
awesome. Soccer sheet is in here. Has he had a chance to give us his recap?
He is not. Go ahead, Sam.
Oh man, pressure's on. I think I'm happy with the game. You know, here's the thing. Charlotte has a positive goal differential after 5 games and after 6 matches for the first time ever. Um, if we make those 2 PKs and nothing else, you know, we have a +3 goal differential at this point in the season. Um, throw in a Diagera with and one of many chances tonight, we'd have a +5 goal diff at this point in the season. Um, some bad finishing, some missed chances. I definitely can't feel like doom and gloom, especially, you know, we just played the Supporters Shield and the MLS champions from last year, and we're in the place that we are. I think Petty should get a little time to get better. Abada looked really good tonight. Obviously, Diani, you know, if you had to pick one best signing of the year so far at this point, it's currently him. Hopefully, we get some great stuff from Abada and Junior or so in the future. But, you know, have to be happy with Diani's performance, both picking up the foul and getting the PK. Yeah, I mean, I can't. I honestly have nothing bad to say about tonight's game, except that, you know, if we had made some of those chances, clearly it would have insulated us against a last minute Latanzio esque drop of 2 points. But at least at this point in the season, that's just football. It's not something that's become a habit yet. So, yeah, I mean, I'm happy for
Dude,
Diani.
I'm so much on board with you, Sam. Like that was pretty much my takeaway to the letter. So can't be mad at it. It's Cincinnati. They're top of the league. The fact that we're pissed off that we only left with 1 point shows how far we've come since last year, because our expectations are so much higher and our quality of play is so much better. Let me kick it over to CLT Sports Fanatic. I see you're in the chat here. Big takeaways. What you got?
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I don't understand. I've signed on to Slack. I've signed on to Twitter. I'm sorry. I do not understand how Enzo is catching so many strays after this game. If you want to talk anything following this match, number one, Diani's handling of the midfield against Acosta was just phenomenal to watch all night long. He controlled that area. He flustered Acosta many times, got under his skin, was a pest. Like, that was just brilliant play. Great strategy from Dean on Acosta tonight with Diani. Also, I did not realize Acosta was anywhere near as short as he was until tonight. Vargas got to go to the bench. Vargas has got to go to the bench. Yes, dude, you're getting into wide spaces, but at times Vargas is just standing wide open. And here's my thing. I think teams are leaving Vargas wide open because they are not scared of Vargas at all. He has zero finishing touch this year. His crosses are garbage. Vargas got to go to the bench. We got to figure something out on that wing. It was good to see Abada step on the pitch tonight. Personally, when Enzo first subbed in, the Capretti press that he does, the running he made, he forced a lot of deep balls over the top that really shouldn't have turned into anything to be a throw in deep in the zone for us. Yes, he got his one opportunity in the box, didn't pull the trigger on the shot, looked like he was mad at himself. He set Abada up for a shot by controlling the deep ball over the top. Um, I still look at Nathan Byrne and I don't understand how that man travels as much of the field as he does because he was far up that right side many, many times. And I'm just thinking in my Sunday league, I would have called for about 15 subs by the time Byrne made his second run. Um, but overall, I mean, I told the people I was sitting with, I was there with some friends who are Cincinnati fans, and when we hit the 85th minute, I was like, you could tell the whole stadium's still nervous. Everybody's trying to Charlotte FC chant to will this team to win. So the back line's gotta figure it out. But overall, I think you still have to be happy with a point going into the game. You were hoping for a point. So it's nice to sit here and look at the team and see how far we have come, the opportunities we had in the first half. We could have put this game away. So I think you tip the hat and you move on.
Yeah, and I'll say the goal that Charlotte did concede, it come off of a pretty good opportunity down on the other end, and just got caught in transition. I mean, we've seen it all night long how Nathan Byrne had Buponza in his pocket, Diani had Acosta in his pocket. It's when you're playing that type of a caliber competition, and you get lax for 20 seconds of a match, it shows you what it can cost you. And I think it's in Dino we trust, and I think Dean will look at that and he'll handle it. And again, if Dean Smith is coming out in the press conference afterwards saying, "Hey, the guys are holding their heads really, really low, and I don't know why," he said they should hold their heads high. That yes, it sucks to concede and it sucks to lose, but I don't think it's indicative of a larger concern. I think we have PTSD. I think this fan base has PTSD from last season and all the drop points that we had. I think we just need to take a deep breath, realize, take the positives out of this, and move forward.
Man, cool. That's a really measured response, and I think urging reason on any sports fan base is a dangerous proposition. But I want to bring in Joe Garcia. It's been a second since we heard from you. Do you think that Dino deserves a little bit more time to figure things out before we jump to conclusions about his play style?
Absolutely. I mean, just right off the bat, we didn't drop points like we did under Latanzio, where he would park the bus and we'd be just playing, you know, wishful thinking that the other team won't score. We were still trying to get a notch a goal late in the game, and we gave up a bad goal tonight. It sucked. I thought Kalina had a really good game too, but I don't think it was the same type of dropped point that we would see if Latanzio was still at the helm. And like I said, man, I think Dean put a priority on building this team out defensively first, and he's moved from the back line to the midfield. Now, if we could just get the scoring touchdown, man, this team's gonna be really, really dangerous. Really dangerous.
I completely agree. I mean, he's told us numerous times in press conferences that you got to build the spine or the foundation of the team first, and it's very clear that he meant the back line, and that's not his reputation previously. But I love that it's working for us. Charlotte FC podcast.
Yeah. So I think what's going to be crucial is that since this tie did happen at home, unfortunate and how it happened, but we needed, I feel like we need to get three in New England to kind of balance this out, especially knowing how they're playing this year and they're still trying to make things happen there.
Let me kick it over to Soccer Sheet again, and then Len Cornacchia, and we're going to start doing our final round of final thoughts for the game because this has been a long session, but I think it's been good. We've had a lot of participation. This game was very interesting because to me, it's a lot of what I expected. But Soccer Sheet, Sam, what do you think? Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Everybody should be happy with 4 points between Columbus and Cincinnati. I am not happy with from the fan perspective. You got to make some of those shots, and you got to get more of that on target. But on the other hand, next week we'll have Abada starting. We'll probably have Capetti starting. It'll be probably the most drastic change we've seen up front since the beginning of the year. Backline still doing really strong. Personal plug. be on the lookout for another interview with a member of our back line coming soon. But they are all happy and in a really good place. And in talking to our four guys back there a lot over the past couple of weeks, it's really, they're playing with a lot of joy and they really like what they're doing right now. And I agree with everybody else who said that, Dean's approach of creating that foundation and building back from there. Yeah, we're going to see a lot of 1-1 games, 2-0s, 1-0s. Still haven't had a 3-goal game yet this year with Charlotte FC. And, um, you know, it's definitely an English style of play, but having a solid defense is clearly something this team's needed after the past 2 years. And by all accounts, it's going pretty well. Just sad that Colina did not get his 5th clean sheet in a row at the bank.
Yeah, I would have really liked the players on that back line to get another bottle of wine. That would have been fantastic. I would have loved to have seen a backflip from Kerwin Vargas. We didn't see either of those. Let me kick it over to Len for the final thoughts.
Yeah, final thoughts. I get everybody's take on how our players up front have not produced and we've missed chances. The good news is I think soccer is a game where things even out over the course of the season. And just as things aren't falling for us now, I think games will come soon where they'll start to fall for us more often and they will even out. As long as we maintain a defense like we have in the first 6 games, 5 goals, only one other team has done it with 6 games. I think one other team in the East has given up 4 goals, but they've only played 4 games. So we have right now tied for the best goals against in the division. If we continue to play like that consistently, then I think we are going to finish much better than we did last year. So things are looking up.
Len, as a content creator, I hate hearing the voice of reason. That does not get clicks. So let me turn it over to the Queen's Pitch because you're another podcast. You can give me a hot take. Bridget, what did you think? Final thoughts of the game and looking ahead to New England next week.
I think I agree with Lynn. The shots, we definitely need to make those shots, but it's like Dean said in the presser after, at least we had the ability to take shots. So we have chances, and those chances will end up, obviously, hopefully scoring through the season once we figure everything out. But I think that this team is going to do, we're seeing signs of a great defense, and we're seeing signs of a new team. We have a lot of the same players as last year, but they're shining this year. So I'm excited.
No, another measured voice of reason. Let me kick it over to Ash Hamrick and then Jay Forrest. Final thoughts, guys. Ash first.
I'm sorry, Luke, but I'm going to be another disappointment for you. I urge patience among this fan base. I think we all expected improvement when Dean Smith came into the job, and I think we have seen that. But I think in the future there are going to be more scenarios where we maybe don't win games where we shouldn't. Maybe drop points or tie. I think that will definitely happen. But I urge fans not to overreact. Have patience with Dean, have patience with these players, and see who we bring in the summer as well, and just stick with these guys, and we will be rewarded in the end, I believe.
All right, Jay.
Yeah, I think what Bridget was saying, the chances are there and there are good things coming together. The defense is playing. I like the style of play. I've clearly voiced what my frustrations are. I think Dean will do whatever he needs to do to win. I think he's still assessing the team. But I don't have patience for certain elements of it. And, I know that Charlotte's endured professional sports in a very non-winning culture that's, just there's been nothing to cheer about for Charlotte fans for, I don't know, 30 years with the
I don't
Hornets.
know, man. 42 years since our last championship, and that was in soccer. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's just, hey, I think at the end of the day, we all want to win championships at the end of so yeah, hopefully this happens and they put the right pieces together to start finishing some goals.
Totally agree. Hey, thank you guys so much for joining. Jonathan Wilson, let me kick it over to you. And then I feel like I've probably missed a few people, but Jonathan Wilson, final thoughts.
Oh, shucks, man. Well, I have a question for the space, really, which is, and this will be a little bit of a hot take with 1% conviction. Maybe Kalina is not the right guy. I saw continued bad distribution from him out of the back. And I think he made a mistake going for that ball in the box. He had two guys right there on him. He lays out for it with no chance of covering it. And I kind of think that goal was on Kalina. So that'd be my hot take.
Ooh, Jonathan, I'm on your side. I'm glad someone else thinks like me.
Let's see Georgie in there.
Put George in.
Can I respond to
Kalina did
that?
have some really good saves tonight, though. I have to give him props. I mean, there
Yeah.
was like one or two saves that I was like, way to go, Kalina. I was excited about that. But I do think sometimes his decision making is, there. But he did what he had. I mean, he did. I mean, that one shot was amazing that he
He's
actually
such a
did.
good
Yeah.
shot stopper. He's so good, and I will never take that away from him. I love Kalina, but his distribution is trash.
Look, does Kalina have a goalie wars championship belt? I don't think so. CLT Sports, let's go.
So the only thing I wanted to add in looking at this is we've given up 5 goals through 6 games. Nashville is kind of the outlier. They scored run of play in their 2 goals. It was like 30th and then before stoppage time 40th minute goal. My issue that I'm noticing, and this is where I fear with this back line, the other 3 goals, 2 of them came in stoppage time of the first half, and the other one came. I'm sorry, one was in the stoppage time of the first half. The one was tonight's stoppage time, and then Toronto was an 80th minute goal. So I still have the concerns of those 80-minute or stoppage time goals happening.
Cole, QCS pod.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree that it's the later in the game gets, we haven't seen any substitutions on the back line. We haven't seen Jalen come in. We haven't seen Bill Tuioloma come in. So, is it a question of just tired legs? Because we've seen this team defend. We've seen the back line defend phenomenally. I think it's second in the league in XGA. So, the back line, to me, is the strength of the team at this point. The Toronto game, you lose 1-0 on a golazo from Insigne, but not to mention you didn't score either. So again, it comes back down to putting the ball in the back of the net. Final thoughts on tonight, guys, is just simply go up to New England, get 3 points on the road, and let's see Leo Labata get out there and show out. Let's see Enzo get on the score sheet. And I'm intrigued to see if Kerwin starts or if Yuri Tavares gets a start over Kerwin. Other than that, that's all I got. And I think y'all can
Hey, thank you guys so much. My final thoughts for the night are for the motherfucking crown. I don't know. Later, guys. Bye.